The end. No. Good afternoon. It is my pleasure and it is my honor to welcome you to the Temple University Beasley School of Law's 124th commencement exercises. Welcome, class of 2025. To begin our ceremony, I ask those present, please stand as you are able and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watch, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you to Christopher Neal, who is a director in our Office of Career Services. Everyone, please be seated. The land on which Temple Law School sits is part of the ancestral land of the Lenape Nation, and we pay respect to the caretakers of the land from time immemorial until now and into the future. Congratulations, class of 2025 Temple Law. This is the day that you have been planning for, that you have been working toward. You made your way out of the deep stacks of the law library, and here you are today. In a short time, you will be Temple Law graduates. Yes? You will be Temple made, and we will be Temple proud. You know, I've been thinking a lot lately about what does it mean to be Temple made, especially in our current moment. You knew, or since we're all lawyers now, you should have reasonably known, that Temple Law, as Philadelphia's public university, is unique. We believe fiercely in our mission of access and excellence as a university, just as we believe fiercely in our sports teams and hoagie venues. Temple graduates are known for their tenacity, their hustle, and skill. When you chose Temple, you became part of this unique community and allowed it to become part of you. But we are living in a time of uncertainty. I will not stand here and promise you an end to that uncertainty. What I will tell you is that being Temple made has prepared you to lean into change and determine what comes next. I became dean the first day of our return to in-person classes after the COVID pandemic. Thankfully, nothing was happening in the world at that time. No, change has not abated since. But what I learned about uncertainty here is how to embrace it and understand that change inevitably follows choice. It matters how you meet the moments of transition. And our profession, our country, desperately needs your leadership. Above all, yes, it's true. We really, really need you. But above all, Temple has taught me the value of community, not just somewhere where we participate in activities, but a set of relationships within which we do all of our work. I was hired by the dearly missed Joanne Epps, our former dean and president. And she hired me at the beginning of my teaching career. And in the decade plus, this law school has been like a family to me. My colleagues, who I count as dear friends, my students, who year after year inspired me and gave my job purpose, and the extraordinary administrators and staff who make our school run and ensure that we succeed. This is a place where you are expected to show up as who you are and to meet others where they are. We are a community built on the values of empathy, kindness, and respect. And as part of this community, I have also learned the importance of resilience. It's more than just the will to keep going or unwavering belief in the justness of your position or your cause. Resilience, in my experience here, involves the recognition that while change and uncertainty are ever present, so too are growth and possibility. We are the most resilient when we can see in each moment that possibility for growth. We often talk about resilience in the context of loss, and we have known a fair amount of it. This academic year, as was true in the last, we lost a faculty member who embodied those values that I just mentioned and helped shape who we are. Professor Jim Schellenberger, or Shell, to anyone who met him more than once, was a brilliant educator. He devoted himself to ensuring that you had access to an excellent legal education and that you would succeed in the bar exam and in practice. Anyone who knew Shell knew that he, at a drop of a dime, would talk crim pro, legal ethics, or the tribulations of supporting the Phillies. We feel his loss, and we feel Shell's passing, even as we celebrate his impact on Temple law. Because when some moments are over, others begin. When you leave today, it will be to pursue new opportunities, embrace new roles, take on and confront new challenges. Like you, I am embarking on a new chapter this fall, but I will carry with me deep pride and gratitude for all this community has brought to my life. So yes, we're living in a time of uncertainty which is shaping norms and laws and institutions, many of which we as lawyers might have assumed to be well settled. But as Temple lawyers, let me tell you, you are more than prepared to meet this moment. Not only have you earned your law degree, you have grown intellectually and emotionally, you've been part of the growth of others, and you have exhibited the resilience that will be required of all of us as we face the days ahead. For these reasons and more, you are Temple made, and we are very Temple proud. In fact, one of our proudest traditions at Commencement is to celebrate the contributions of a very special group of graduates. At Temple, we work hard to instill in our students a pro bono ethic that sets our profession apart from others. Students who demonstrate dedication to public service earn membership in the Rubin Public Interest Law Honor Society. And this year, 43 students achieved that honor, about 1/6 of the class, and together they performed nearly 6,000 hours of pro bono service. These students perform countless more hours in government offices, judicial chambers, nonprofits, and clinical settings. So would the members of the Reuben Presser Public Interest Law Honor Society rise as you're able to be recognized? Thank you. We also know that you have not accomplished all of this alone. One of our most cherished traditions at Commencement is to recognize our graduates' parents, children, siblings, friends, partners, and spouses, the people who have shared this journey with you. Would the family and friends of our graduates in the audience please rise as you are able? Graduates, join me in thanking those that have supported you throughout your law school career. Thank you for everything you've done to make today possible. We are grateful for the time your loved ones have spent with us. Speaking of spending time, there's another group of people who deserve our thanks today. Our Temple Law faculty and administration have been tireless in helping you earn an exceptional legal education. They've created new courses and clinics. They have prepared you for practice in a changing world. They've offered support and mentorship as you took on challenges of law school and legal practice. And they've pushed you to expand the horizons of your imagination. To my friends and colleagues on the faculty and in the administration, thank you for your unflagging commitment to our students and for your investment in their careers. Thank you. A couple of special thanks. We have wonderful colleagues who are retiring at the end of this year. Professor Susan DeJarnett will be retiring at the end of the academic year. 3 decades of extraordinary service to Temple Law School. She's been a member of our LRW faculty, and she has shaped generations of public interest lawyers in our state and in our country. To Karen McMichael, the Senior Director of International Programs, thank you for your decades of service and mentoring and educating and seeing through the number of LLM and international students who have left Temple but kept Temple in their hearts. Karen, thank you. To Dorothy Lee, our Director of Special Events. Dorothy, of over a 40-year career, graduates in this audience know Dorothy. Who does not have a Dorothy Lee story? No one. Dorothy has been tireless in her service to this university, to this law school, and has been a friend to many of us, but more importantly, has invested a career well lived in making sure that we are a law school that can be inviting and welcoming. And then finally, Professor Kathy Mandelbaum, who retired in December. After 25 years of service, almost 25, she has been a steadfast mentor of our students inside and outside the classroom. As Associate Professor of Law and former Director of the Graduate Tax Program, many of you know her from her work with the Name Change Program and other important offerings that connect students to real-world practice. So to Susan, to Kathy, to Karen, and to Dorothy, thank you. We are also honored to be joined by Temple University President John Fry. President Fry, we are grateful for your vision and your leadership. It is a testament to your commitment to Temple to be here today in order to shake every graduate's hand. Will you please rise so we can recognize you? We are also delighted to be joined by Patrick Brown, Marina Katz, and Susanna Lax, members of our university's Board of Trustees. Thank you for your leadership, support, guidance of the University of Temple Law School and the legal profession. You're truly models for our graduates. Would you please rise so that we can recognize you? And thank you to our special guest today, the Honorable Mary Kay Costello, whom I'll introduce more formally in a moment. Judge Costello, you've demonstrated an ethic of service and leadership and enduring commitment to the advocacy community. Thank you for the many ways in which you inspire Temple Law students. Thank you, Judge. Class of 2025, the networked community of people invested in your success, family and friends, classmates, faculty, administrators, and alumni is deep and broad and strong. We will be there to offer you counsel and to cheer you on. Congratulations again. It is now my pleasure to introduce our Day Division class speaker of the class of 2025, Madison Dawkins. Madison is a Philadelphia native and a dedicated Eagles fan. Sports is coming up quite a lot, but it is Philadelphia. She graduated from the University of Pennsylvania, where she studied race and mass incarceration and played Division I athletics on the Penn women's soccer team. Her dedication to working alongside incarcerated women while at Penn foreshadowed her future career advocating for criminal justice reform. After graduation, Madison worked for Columbia University's Criminal Justice Lab. At Columbia, Madison helped to convene national stakeholders to change local and national narratives around punishment and safety. Most notably, Madison led a statewide project in Oklahoma designed to bring awareness to the pervasive impact of the Tulsa Race Massacre on Oklahoma's present-day criminal justice system. Her work in Oklahoma eventually led her to pursue a legal education. During her time at Temple Law, Madison was a proud member of Temple's national trial team and co-president of the Black Law Student Association. She interned at the Defenders Association of Philadelphia in the chambers of Honorable Mark A. Kearney and at the City of Philadelphia's Law Department. She is the recipient of a Conwell Scholarship, the Stuart A. Eisenberg Scholarship, the Barristers Association of Philadelphia Scholarship, the Benjamin F. Levy Alumni Scholarship, and the Old Baum Scholarship. She will be taking her passion and her talents to the Defender Association of Philadelphia next year. We are very proud of Madison for all she has done in the law school and what she would do next. So as Madison comes to the podium, please join me in welcoming Madison.
Hey guys. To my classmates, our professors, faculty and staff, the administration, Dean Reboucher, and all the people who provided unwavering support for the past 3 years, thank you. We truly could not have done this without you. I'm a proud member of Section 1. I love this class, and I love this school, and I'm so grateful that we get to share this moment together. And it's a moment where the world looks a lot different than when we first started law school. For example, the executive branch is at odds with the foundational principles of our Constitution. Some of you may have stopped watching the news. Maybe you've deleted social media from your phones. And maybe you've even been asked how you feel about what's going on. I know I've been asked. And when I've been asked how I feel, I usually say it depends. But now that I have the mic, I'm going to tell you how I really feel. I feel that we've become too desensitized to the chaos, to the confusion, and the atrocities around us. But I'll tell you what gives me hope. This class. I look in front of me and I see some of the most thoughtful, outspoken, courageous, hardworking, and committed leaders I have ever known. We have classmates that have been recognized by the Philadelphia Bar Association to the National Jurists. We have environmental, energy, and climate justice fellows who will help guide us to a more sustainable future. We have Merit Fellows and Duffy Student Fellows, and we have a number of published authors in the Law Review, Tickle J, Temple Business Law Magazine, and more. And we have members of the trial team and other appellate court advocates. I've seen you lead with accountability, courage, and empathy. So I'm going to talk to you about that today. Let's start with accountability. I'm going to take you back to the classroom during our very first year. After a while, you begin to gain an understanding of the community around you. So you know who's going to volunteer to answer questions. You know who's going to pass on a cold call. You know who's going to say something provocative. And you know who's going to call that person out for saying something provocative. We've learned how to communicate effectively and hold each other accountable. And beyond the classroom, we're holding others accountable. In the criminal justice system, through the Bail Watch Project. We're advocating for kids facing school discipline. We're keeping landlords and employers accountable. And at a time when there's an epidemic of gun violence, your law review comments are calling for greater civil protections and accountability to ensure safety for the public and victims of domestic violence. So I challenge you, as we step into this next chapter, continue to surround yourself with people who will hold you accountable and continue to hold others accountable. Now this brings me to courage. It's our job to preserve the rule of law and keep our democracy functioning as our founders intended. Thank you. Professor Epstein, who I'm honored to call my trial team coach and maybe now a friend, I got confirmed, co-authored a recent article called "Your Law Degree Matters Now More Than Ever," where he writes, "Protecting the rule of law requires constant vigilance, especially in times of crisis when it's most at risk. When the rule of law is upheld, people can challenge injustice without fear of retaliation. When it's weakened, abuses often go unchecked, and the most vulnerable members of society suffer first and most." When I read that, I thought of you. I've seen you lead with courage, and it's your courage that has changed me for the better. At a time where immigrants are most at risk, my classmates have had the courage to provide critical services to immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers of all backgrounds. At a time where society's most vulnerable are being threatened, my classmates have had the courage to attend protests, organize walkouts, and lead teach-ins on building movements for liberation. So now as we prepare to go out and serve, I encourage you to be courageous. We're standing on the shoulders of the giants who came before us. Giants like President Joanne Epps and Professor Schellenberger. Who our community lost during our time here. though both have passed, their legacies endure. One in the courage she showed by continuing to teach despite a terminal diagnosis, and the other in the fearless advocacy she showed for legal education that centers institutional accountability and responsiveness. And this brings me to my final point, empathy. My classmates have a unique ability to see and accept each other for who we truly are. We're musicians and marathon runners, equestrians, world travelers, and new parents. We've supported each other through the highest highs and the lowest lows. We hold space for each other. When Professor Schellenberger announced his diagnosis, you are the ones who organize care packages. You've sent flowers to those who've lost family members and friends. The empathy that this class has shown has been beyond my wildest imagination. Just like the Eagles Super Bowl win last year. When I started this speech, I asked how you felt about everything that was going on. So now, when people tell you, tell them about our class. Tell them that the Temple Beasley School of Law's class of 2025 will hold us all accountable. Tell them we're courageous. Tell them that we will lead with empathy and fight for our democracy. Being a part of this class has been the honor of my lifetime. Congratulations to my class. Thank you, Mom and Dad, and go Birds! Thank you. Okay, my moment isn't over. I have one last thing to do. Our class gift. Dean Reboucher, it is now my honor to present you with the gift from the class of 2025. The class gift is a long-standing tradition at Temple Law School. It is the first step for many of us on our road ahead to maintain, strengthen, and continue our relationship with our alma mater and celebrate that, as of today, we are now officially members of the greater Temple Law alumni community. This donation is our effort as a group to support the law school's future and to express our appreciation as students. It is our intention that these funds goes to support one incoming day student and one incoming evening student with financial need. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the class of 2025, for this gift. Your generosity and commitment to the future really speaks volumes about our mission and what we try to do here. Thank you. And thank you, Madison, for those wonderful remarks. It is now my pleasure to introduce the class of 2025 Evening Division's class speaker, Mark Kaplan. Mark is a double owl, having graduated magna cum laude from Temple in 2006 with a Bachelor of Music in Jazz Composition and Arranging. He is an accomplished pianist, keyboardist, composer, and an actor with 3 solo albums to his name. He has entertained global audiences as a show musician aboard Holland America Line, provided piano accompaniment on a variety of projects with Trinity Repertory Company, and composed, performed original music for, and acted in immersive theater with Broken Ghost Immersives. He's composed new film scores for re-released silent films, and if you are a longtime listener of WRTI, Public's public radio station, Mark was an on-air host from 2002 to 2007. What has Mark been doing with his time? Since August 2012, Mark has worked in several capacities at Green and Spiegel, an immigration law firm here in Philadelphia, first as an office manager, senior legal assistant, and now business manager. So while in law school, as our evening students do, he's continued his employment there as a law clerk and case manager, directing immigrant and non-immigrant cases from initiation to approval. After graduation, he will join the law firm as an associate. He's been an active contributor to the Temple law community. He's been a teaching assistant in torts and introduction to transactional skills, represented the 4LE class as a senator in the Student Bar Association, and served on a number of evening and curriculum committees. Would you please join me in welcoming Mark?
Thank you, Dean Rebichet. Thank you, Madison. I welcome all of you today to honor and celebrate the class of 2025. My first day as a student on Temple's campus was nearly 23 years ago, and not once, way back when, did I think my last day on campus would end this way. Before I go any further, please allow me a moment to express my deepest thanks to the people closest to me, to my family, blood and chosen. Thank you for always being there and forgiving me for missing so much. To Jay, for teaching me how to law and spending the better part of a decade convincing me to go get that JD. And to Liz, my love, my person, my best friend. Thank you for your brilliance and your grace, and for being with me every step of the way. This honor is as much yours as it is mine. Thank you. Law and human history are deeply intertwined. The earliest societies created rules and codes to enhance and protect the collective experience. But this is a law school commencement ceremony, not a history lecture that's a few blocks down the street, so let's leave it at this. There is no society without law, and there is no law without society. Neither could exist without the other. It is not a perfect system. There are times where society and its laws create a balance of freedom and opportunity for most. But there are also times where law and society are at odds with each other. It is in navigating this tension between order and change, between authority and legitimacy, that the rule of law emerges as the tie that binds us all together. The rule of law is not just the written statutes and codes and regulations. It is more than the common law born from controversies in courts. It is not meant to be static. The rule of law adapts and evolves over time. It exists on scales like justice, weighing pros and cons and balancing order and integrity and due process and fundamental rights. And most importantly, at its core, is a principle that no one is immune from the rule of law. But here's the rub. It is not a binary concept. It's not merely right and wrong or good and bad. The rule of law exists in a state where cognitive dissonance can truly exist with mutual harmony. And it is within this tension where the rule of law truly exists, helping society balance competing ideas and beliefs without resorting to hatred and violence. But above all, the rule of law is the idea that both society and the state remain accountable to something greater than themselves. We all have a duty to the rule of law. Now, the duty with a capital D of a lawyer is thoroughly written. We had to take a special national exam on it, and don't worry, everybody, I passed. We know our duties to clients, to tribunals, to other lawyers, and to even non-clients. But our duties do not stop there. We cannot forget our duties as friends, partners, siblings, parents, children, artists, teachers, athletes, readers, lovers, and every single thing that makes us who we are. We, classmates, soon to be attorneys, future litigators and legislators, future general counsels and judges, future protectors of intellectual property and champions of the underserved, we have a duty to remain good humans, a duty to be good friends, partners, siblings, parents, children, and everything else. And to fail that duty invalidates everything we have done to get here. We got to go to law school. We did not have to go to law school. We made a choice to be here, and that choice comes with a price, a duty to the rule of law, to ourselves, and to everyone. We are fortunate, though. This duty is also a privilege. We get to be here. We earned our place. We earned our right to walk across this stage, and we can never, and I really mean never, take that for granted. I wanted to give a speech of only positive adjectives and superlatives, to talk about our triumphant accomplishments and monumental achievements, to extol our wisest and bravest, to express immense gratitude to everyone from Dean Rebusche and to Carol and James and to all the wonderful people that make the magic happen. Thank you to all of you. But I cannot do only that. This moment is too important because we are about to enter a world that is changing rapidly and fraught with conflict and anger. And for better or worse, lawyers are on the front lines of these changing worlds. Herein lies our duty. They call this commencement for a reason. It is not the end, it is the beginning. For some of you, this will be your first time out of school or very close to it. And I am so excited for you. You have always had the talent, and now you have the tools to make a difference in this world. Time is on your side, and take advantage of it. For some of you, myself included in this one, we have proven to the world that it is never too late, that we can, at any age, pursue new challenges and opportunities, that we are not afraid to uproot our lives and make drastic changes to better ourselves and those around us. Be proud of this accomplishment and of all those to come. Will we be good lawyers and advocates? Without doubt. Will we know all the answers? Absolutely not. Are there going to be tough moments? Most certainly. Will we always know when to follow the rule and when to challenge it? It depends. But as long as we keep our capital D duties to each other, we will never be without a net. Go forth, class of 25, and congratulations on becoming Juris Doctors. Now, before we move on, I have one final duty to fulfill. Every year, the graduating class votes to award a full-time faculty member for their personal impact on our legal education. The George P. Williams III Memorial Award is given by the graduating class to honor one professor's incredible work. And although we truly believe that every faculty member here deserves this award, we only get to choose one. Guys, I'm sorry, okay? From the front of the classroom to behind the scenes, this professor works tirelessly to ensure that every student leaves this campus equipped to handle any kind of scenario. They burn the candle at both ends to guarantee that we can handle the most basic concepts to the most complex hypotheticals. I know firsthand because I was one of these students. This professor sacrifices their time and energy on behalf of us without a blink, doubt, delay, or question, spending hundreds of hours coordinating hundreds of students, full-time and adjunct faculty, and guest attorney judges to ensure that we learn critical hard skills that benefit us regardless of the type of law we will practice. And I know firsthand because I was one of these students. This professor sacrifices their summer to get on an airplane to teach in a foreign country with very little notice, not just teaching summer law students from around the world, but ensuring that everyone is safe and secure on another continent. I know firsthand because I was one of these students too. And when I was in a big-time bind and I needed help to make sure that I could be on this stage today, this professor did everything they could to make sure that it happened. That is why it is my greatest honor to give the Williams Memorial Award for Teaching Excellence to someone that I am privileged to call a mentor and now a friend, Professor Andrea Andy Monroe.
I'm just going to say thank you before I start to cry. This means a lot to me, and I'm so proud and privileged and blessed to be here with all of you. So congratulations, and thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Mark, for those powerful words. And truly, if you want to know what sets Temple Law apart, Andy Monroe. So thank you, Andy. I don't know if anyone could count the number of students she's inspired, the number of students that she has mentored. As Mark said, the countless hours she puts into her teaching, into her craft. And folks, she teaches partnership tax. I mean, I teach contracts. It's night and day. Apologies, contracts professors. It's true. No, Andy, Professor Monroe has been a colleague and a friend and a mentor and an extraordinary teacher. Thank you, class of 2025, for recognizing all she does for our students and for our law school. I shared a bit in my remarks about Professor James Schellenberger. Commencement was Shell's favorite day of the academic year. You may not know, but my colleagues know that Shell served as the chief faculty marshal for many, many years. So as part of his legacy, we have created the James A. Schellenberger Memorial Award for Law School Service to begin conferred each year at commencement and honor a full-time faculty member for their sustained service and significant contributions to the law school. You can read more in your program about Professor Schellenberger's extraordinary contributions over his 40-plus years at Temple Law, and I really can't think of a better way to honor his legacy with this award. Chosen by our colleagues, our inaugural, through the Chairs and Awards Committee, our inaugural recipient, a professor who has been a dedicated member of the law school faculty for over 50 years, exemplifies these values and more. In addition to this professor's service on our faculty, he has served as Associate Dean for Academic Affairs twice, once for 10 years, once for 13 years. It's starting to sound a little like a prison sentence, but it's all out of love. As acting dean, as senior advisor to the dean, he has been the recipient of the George P. Williams Award for Excellence in Teaching, the Lynn Back Award for Distinguished Service, and the Murray H. Schusterman Award for Outstanding Faculty. The inaugural Schellenberger Award goes to Professor Robert Bartow. Rob.
Wow. I am very proud of my service over all those years, a lot of years. And I really appreciate this recognition from my colleagues. Thank you very much. This award has a very special meaning for me because it honors my dear friend and colleague for more than 40 years, Professor Jim Schellenberger. Talk about service. The guy is a legend around here. And as many of you know from personal experience, his primary focus in that service was to our students, to you. He cared about you so deeply, as you well know. If Shell were here now, he just couldn't restrain himself from passing along one bit of advice to you at this point. There's one more challenge you have before you become members of the bar, and you all know what it is. You've all got the talent to pass the bar exam, every single one of you. So what does it take now? It takes effort, and it takes diligence, and it takes the discipline to begin the process yesterday and not to wait till the last minute to decide you can get through those last 4 or 5 subjects. So please, we can't wait till the news comes out that every single member of the class of 2025 who took the bar exam passed it on the first try.
You heard it here, folks, 100% bar passage rate, no pressure. Now I am delighted to introduce our commencement speaker. We have is this echoing a little bit? We have an extraordinary privilege today of hearing the Honorable Mary Kay Costello, who was appointed to the United States District Court of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania in 2024. Her appointment to the bench caps an extraordinary career that has been defined by service to and advocacy for her clients, the public, and the rule of law. We are deeply proud to call her one of our own. Judge Costello came to Temple following 8 years of distinguished service in the U.S. Air Force. She received her BA summa cum laude from Temple University in 1998 and her JD in 2001 magna cum laude. Prior to her appointment to the Eastern District Bench, Judge Costello served as a U.S. magistrate judge also here in Philadelphia. From 2008 to 2024, she served as an assistant United States attorney in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, where her assignments focused on public corruption, fraud, and civil rights. Judge Costello prosecuted criminal cases involving bribery, healthcare fraud, drug diversion schemes, tax fraud, cases involving violent crimes, among others. During her career at the U.S. Attorney's Office, she was committed to inclusion in the legal profession, having served as the LGBTQ+ program coordinator and a member of the hiring committee. Prior to her public service, Judge Costello was a litigation associate at Akin Gump Strauss Hauer and Feld, LLP from 2004 to 2008. Her practice there focused on class action and other complex commercial litigation. She also worked for Saul Ewing before that time, where she handled various commercial litigation matters. Please welcome our distinguished speaker, Judge Mary Kay Costello.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dean, for your kind introduction. And I want to thank you for inviting me here. Administration, faculty, staff, and graduates. Thank you all for inviting me to speak today. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. I'm pretty sure I'm the last thing between you and your degrees, so I'll be brief. It's been more than 20 years for me, but I still remember what it was like to sit where you're sitting today. Temple was my second home back then. It's where I discovered that the law was my calling and where I learned to put my interest in the law into practice and make myself useful. I'll always be grateful to Temple Law School, and I hope your experiences here were as wonderful and meaningful as mine. I know from experience how hard you've worked and how much you and your families have sacrificed to get to this day. You've achieved something remarkable, and I hope you feel great pride in what you've accomplished. There is much more ahead for each of you. I look forward to interacting with you as you commence your legal careers. I'm excited to see where you all go from here. You're about to become part of the greatest legal system in existence. Ours is the envy of the world, still. That didn't happen by accident. Our legal system is a product of careful and thoughtful design. However, we should not take its greatness for granted. It takes effort to maintain it, and each one of you will be called to contribute to that effort. I encourage you to consider the oath that you'll take when, not if, you pass the bar exam and get sworn in as practicing attorneys. In Pennsylvania, it starts like this. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity to the court as to the client. Other states have similar oaths. So to enter the legal profession, you must first swear to support, obey, and defend the Constitution. And you must swear to discharge your duties not just to your client, but to the court. That's extraordinary. I don't know any other profession that requires such an oath. So why? Why do lawyers take an oath to uphold the Constitution and pledge fidelity to the court? I think it's because in entering the legal profession, you're becoming part of something more important than any particular client or case or cause. In becoming lawyers, you are becoming custodians of our legal system and protectors of the rule of law. Now, you may be thinking to yourself that what I just said doesn't really apply to you. Perhaps you're going to be joining a law firm to practice civil litigation, or trusts and estates, or tax law. Perhaps you're going to be joining a personal injury firm or an insurance defense practice. Or perhaps you'll be negotiating and drafting legal contracts and documents, or practicing family law. You're thinking to yourself that you're not going to be on the front lines of constitutional law and of defending the rule of law. You're not planning to be a judge, maybe, or a prosecutor, or public defender, or Supreme Court litigator. To that, I say two things. First, sitting where you're sitting over 20 years ago, I never expected to be standing here today. So you don't really know where your career is going to take you. Some of you surely will be judges, federal prosecutors, public defenders, Supreme Court litigators, and more. It's important that you know now what your principles are, no matter where or how you serve the law. Second, every lawyer takes the same oath, regardless of what kind of law you're going to practice. That's because every lawyer has at least some impact and effect on our legal system and the rule of law. What you do, how you practice, matters, not just to your client, firm, or organization, but to the legal system itself. You are now specialists in the law. And the law is the very foundation of society. It's the glue that holds us together. It defines our relationships and duties to each other, and our government's duties to us. It provides a semblance of fairness, predictability, and stability that makes it possible for us to risk, to achieve, and to prosper. Let's consider for a moment some of your core law school classes. Let's take torts, for example. If you zoom out, you see that torts is a system for defining our duties to each other and for resolving disputes for breach of those duties. What about contracts? And for that matter, most transactional subjects, including trusts and estates, and even some aspects of family law. They all involve the negotiation and creation of legal documents and agreements by which we legally bind ourselves to each other or revoke such bonds. Constitutional law teaches us the limits of government power. Criminal law provides a process by which we seek justice against those who violate the rules, because we know that those who break the rules threaten the delicate balance that we need to live together in society peacefully and productively. Because of your training, you understand these things the way non-lawyers don't. You understand the significance of the rule of law to our very way of life. Your clients, on the other hand, may not understand. They may not see the bigger picture. Instead, they may view the law as a means to an end. They'll likely be focused intently on their matter and on getting the result that they want. They may even expect you to win or succeed at all costs. By virtue of your oath, you'll have to figure out how to zealously represent your clients while knowing and upholding your ethical limits and your duties to the Constitution and the court. Let's talk for a minute about your duties to your clients. They're grounded in the role of attorneys in our society. As attorneys, you will have to be fighters, problem solvers, make it happen people. Sometimes you'll have to be peacemakers, negotiators, or spokespersons. You may have to push the law in new directions on behalf of your clients and causes. You'll demand a fair process, stand up to bullies, and move mountains. You should plan to do all these things for your clients and more. They're counting on you. You should be willing to bury yourself on your client's behalf. But what you should not be willing to do is win at all costs. You must fight fiercely, but fairly. That means you may have to do something you don't like, or refuse to do something you're asked to do, or you may have to make an unpopular decision, or give advice that your boss or your client isn't going to like. You may have to stick your neck out to honor your principles and uphold the rule of law. I hope you're never put in that position, but if you are, you need to think now about how you'll meet that moment. A win at all costs mentality is the antithesis of the rule of law, and it's the opposite of what you'll swear to do when you take your oath. If we push at the boundaries of our ethical limits, if we try to win at all costs, if we view the law as nothing more than a means to an end, then we weaken the rule of law and begin to lose its benefits. The weaker our legal system is, the less well off we all are. If our legal system is weakened, if our rule of law is not robust, we can't be assured of fair processes and equal treatment. Our duties to each other become less discernible, our ties looser. Even worse, accountability is lost. If we are going to continue to have the greatest legal system on earth, if we are to maintain a just and equitable legal system, we need you to serve more than your clients' interests. We also need you to serve the greater good. We need you to accept responsibility for the integrity of the legal system itself. To that end, I hope you will view yourselves as more than litigators, transactional attorneys, corporate counsel, prosecutors, public defenders, or bankruptcy lawyers. I hope you will also see yourselves as seekers of justice, advocates for fundamental fairness, guardians of the legal system, and protectors of the rule of law. I trust that in your hands, our legal system will continue to be the envy of the world. May it always be so. Congratulations, graduates. Good luck, and God bless.
Thank you, Judge Costello, for those inspiring remarks. Members of the class of 2025, the time has arrived. Congratulations, class of 2022. Thank you to your family and your friends and loved ones who are here to support you. In a moment, we will adjourn. I ask that you remain seated as the stage party exits. The marshals will guide your procession out of the Leacour Center. And as we conclude, please join me in thanking the numerous people who made today possible: the law school staff and administrators, the faculty marshals, our faculty participating today. Thank you for the many, many hours it takes to organize this beautiful ceremony. Thank you. Class of 2025, thank you for everything that you have contributed in your years here at Temple Law. Your law degree is indeed an invitation to imagine a better world. And as a reminder, though you don't need it, you are among the few privileged with a graduate education, so use it. Use your voice, and use your talents to affect change. One last request, class of 2025, the Temple University Beasley School of Law, please rise as you are able. You have persevered, you have prevailed, and truly we cannot wait to see what you do next. Congratulations, I now pronounce the Temple Law School's 124th commencement in recess. Thank you, and congratulations, graduates.